Hey guys, welcome back. It is nice to see you here again this week. I do apologize for missing out on the last couple of weeks. I had some major tech issues, whether it be with my phone, my hard drive, my computer. It was just going crazy, and so I wasn't able to upload. And so I wanted to thank you guys for staying, and also hello to my new subscribers. Thank you guys for being here. So this week, ironically enough, we are looking at tension. And so we've got two types of tension, right? Anyone that is new, subscribe to my channel, and don't forget to hit that notification bell. It will let you know the next time that I upload. The domestic sewing machine is one of the most creative things that you can have in your home until something goes wrong. So today we're just going to take a look at some of the most common mistakes that we make, and I want to show you guys how you can fix it instead of taking it into a shop. The reason why I'm using an older sewing machine, because it's a great sewing machine to use to teach you about your top tension and your bottom tension, because the parts are actually really visible, whereas in your machine they're more computerized. Some of them have tension discs set inside of the machine. Now, one of the first things that you want to look at, especially when you're utilizing a vertical spool pin, is you want to make sure that you have a felt pad. Now, this felt pad, I actually made this on my own. You can make them, you don't necessarily have to buy them. You can buy felt from Fabric and then put a little hole in it and make it yourself. But that felt pad will allow your thread to easily come off and roll, and no snagging. And it's also quiet too. While you're still troubleshooting your machine, we want to move to your spool holder. You want to ensure that you're using the spool holder that is a little bit bigger than the thread, because you don't want, if you're using a thread like this that has the slit in the side to catch the thread, once you completed using the thread you can put it in there, you don't want that catching. So they have changed the spool holders on the sewing machines. Now they have a combination of one, and the one spool holder fits the 3 different sizes of spool threads. Before, you would have to figure out which one fit which one. Now remember that you want to have your spool holder bigger than your thread. And to be quite honest with you, I would not use this one on this, because it's still too close. Because this is ideally what happens when you're turning. That little catch part catches. See that? You can hear it. And when you're sewing, that catches and it pulls your thread up. Now there's no slack, and it either snaps or it bunches up your thread at the bottom. And sometimes you think that it's your bobbin, and then people start tinkering with their bobbin when really the issue was just up at the top. And one other thing too is, if you have a spool, there's too much space from your spool pin, you can actually make a foam pad instead of a felt pad and put it here to give it a little bit of height. This is your tension screw right here, and I always advise people, do not touch this yet, because generally it is not your bobbin that is the problem, but this is a screw. And I want to just let you guys know, this screw, when you're turning it, you turn it like maybe about a 1/16 of an inch to 1/4 of an inch. It doesn't need that dramatic turn for the bobbin to change, but I'm not going to show you how to do that because I really think that people should leave this part alone. And once you learn your top tension, then if this happens to go out of whack, you already know how to do it, as long as you remember it's small turns, not big turns. Just to recap on how to put your bobbin in your bobbin case, here's your screw, and I was taught to do the P, so I still do the P. I put it through, I hold like this, I put that through that little part, and I pull it down, and then I hear the click. Remember, you can turn it around, and then you pop it. The only time I would tell you to touch your bobbin thread or your bobbin is if you have a new machine and you've used it for a while and now you're seeing lint come up in your bobbin thread. Blow out the bottom here, but don't touch anything yet. One of the other problems that people have when they have a brand new machine, you don't really know how to use it, and you engage your bobbin accidentally. So you engage your bobbin winder to your bobbin stopper. Older machines, your machine will not work. So you want to make sure that that is correctly positioned. Now, learning your tension is really important. Your tension has these two things that are called the tension disc. This is an older machine, so it's a little loose. What happens with these tension discs, this is where your thread goes in. Depending on the number that you put your tension on, that determines how close those two discs come together. So if you are going to do 0, means that there's a lot of give in between those two discs. If you do 9, you see it's tightening. That means that these two discs are tightened together. And that means that when your thread goes through here, it's going to be tight and snug, opposed to 9, which is going to be loose. Okay, because you can pull those apart. When it's all the way down, it's harder for you to pull it apart. If you remember that, whenever you're doing your sewing, you will remember that it is your top thread that you are seeing. I would recommend, if you're having troubles with your top thread, bottom thread, change the colors on your top thread and bottom thread and you work through your problems. And remember, don't touch the bobbin thread yet. Try and fix the tension on the top thread first, and you will see as you turn it to the manufacturing setting, which is between 4 and 5, -5, you will notice that the top thread is getting tighter. If all else fails, then you take it to someone. So what I wanted to do was just give you guys a quick 1-minute break. I know it's a lot of stuff that you guys are learning, and I want you to know that you're doing an amazing job. The fact that you've taken the time to learn about tension is really good on your sewing career or even just your hobby. So one of the recaps I want to remind you is that when you are stressed and your tension starts going wonky, just walk away. Take some minutes and then come back to the sewing machine. Do not go to the bottom where your bobbin is. Go to the top and rethread your whole machine, ensuring that you get all the key areas for your tension. Then you can go to the bottom, take out your bobbin and rethread your bobbin, and then start sewing and see what happens. If all else fails, then you can rewatch the video and just take your time on what you're learning. Now, whenever something is wrong with your stitch, a lot of people go directly to the bobbin. Whenever there's issues with your threading, normally it's actually because you didn't properly thread your machine or you messed around with your tension. And sometimes you can accidentally touch a tension and move it. So what I want to show you on the machines where the tension dial is not on the front and it's inside, this is what happens. Now my presser foot is down. My presser foot is down, and you know that your presser foot should always be up unless you're threading your needle. But when you're threading the top portion of your machine, you should definitely have your presser foot up. It disengages your tension, and I just showed you what the tension looks like, okay? Now when it is up, this is what happens when you pull. Easy breezy. So now when your presser foot is down, it makes it very hard for you to pull. I wanted you guys to see what the stitch looks like, and then we're going to go from there so that you'll be able to troubleshoot your own issues. So you're going to start sewing. You put your presser foot down. What you're going to do is sink the needle. Sink the needle means I hold my end tail threads, I put my hand on my hand wheel, and I sink my needle into my fabric while I'm turning the hand wheel towards me. Now I'm going to step on the presser foot and I'm going to start sewing. Once you are done, you are going to make sure that your needle is up, okay? Because remember, up looses your tension disc, and then you're going to lift up your presser foot. You're going to take your fabric, your thread. That is what number 5 looks like. And that is a tension thing of number 5. I'm gonna turn it over and we're gonna do 4 layers. And sorry, I should have told you my bottom thread is orange and my top thread is blue. We're going to put that down. We're going to hold our thread again at the side. We're going to hold our tail. We're going to sink our needle. and then we're going to sew. The reason why you hold your tail end is so that you do not lose your needle thread, and then you have to go and rethread it again, so you always hold it. See, that's no different. And that was 4 layers. Now what we're going to do is we are going to put our tension, let's go to the extreme, and we're going to put it at 9. So we're going to repeat the process, hold, sink, and let's go. And here's 9. Even show you that the inside of it. The next extreme, which is going to be 0. This is 0. And look at what happened here. Okay. That is 0. That is no tension. Remember, your orange thread is your bobbin thread, and your bobbin thread stayed the same, but your navy blue thread is the one that's loose. And your navy blue thread is loose because there's no tension, so that your bobbin thread and your top thread can pull together and meet halfway in the middle. Now I'm going to put it at 2. Now this is 2, and hopefully you can see it's a bump that's there where this one was nice and flat. Can you see the difference? So this is 2 tension. Now we're going to put our tension back to number 5. What we're going to do this time, guys, we're going to miss our tension disc, and I'm going to show you what's going to happen. So we miss our tension disc. We're going to go down. We're going to bring it up in this guy here. Mindful, if you test this at home, you're only going to do it for a little bit because you don't want to ruin your machine. Sew a little bit and watch what happens. And then most times we keep going and we keep going, and now our machine is jammed. When your machine is jammed, you lift up your presser foot, you lift up your needle, and you pull your thread. If it is not engaging, wiggle to see where it would get loose, and then if all fails and it's not coming out, then you have to open up. Don't fight with it. Don't pull your needle and break your needle. Open up where your bobbin is. Remove your bottom, because generally what's happening is that down here, the top thread is stuck on something. Can you see that? This is all your top thread, why your machine isn't working. I'm trying to, hopefully you guys can see this in the camera. It's around that little piece, okay? And once you move that, does this look familiar to anyone? Okay. So now we are going to put it back in the tension disc, and we're going to miss this one. Okay, so now you guys see these things can be easily fixed at your own home. Now I don't want to be messing around with my bobbin. I actually never like touching my bobbin. Because I can show you that with the bobbin thread, you can actually still stitch along a little bit longer. It would just be loose. But I just wanted you guys to see this. These things are easy fix. And it's all about your top tension, not your bottom tension. So your top tension is where you should take some time and practice. And once you practice your top tension, then you'll be able to understand what your bottom tension is doing. So if you have bulky fabric, you do have to turn that to pull up the presser foot, so a little bit more lift. Now, generally, it's hard to touch that because you do actually have to use a screwdriver or something to turn it. However, you should look at that if you're using bulky fabrics and you're having some issues. Maybe you didn't put that on. Hey, we have come to the end of another program, and it is very nice that you guys are here. I want to just remind anyone that is new, it is very easy to subscribe, and if you can subscribe to the channel, I would appreciate it. Hit that red subscribe button, and also don't forget to hit the notification bell. It lets you know the next time that I upload. And remember guys, sharing is caring, so if you know someone that sews, interested in craft, or anything that has to do with being creative, then feel free to share my YouTube channel with them. I would appreciate it. Thanks, take care. I'll see you guys next week.